You're welcome back. Now, the Commonwealth Human Rights Initiative has been asking for the establishment of a police complaints commission, and they're expecting it to be a civilian oversight mechanism to ensure complaints against police are not influenced by the police. Head of the Africa office of the CHRI, Mina Mensah, is our guest today. Mina, it's so nice to see you.
Good morning, Kojo. It's very nice to see you. I haven't seen you in a while.
It's been
but I've been hearing your voice.
Oh, so you're kind.
Keep up the good work.
And now I get to hear your voice. Now, this call is not a new one, but it's an important one. And the police have historically struggled to convince the nation that they are justly and thoroughly investigating and punishing police who get involved in any sort of brutality, malpractice, or any sort of wrongdoing. Your call is for civilian oversight. Tell me, first of all, how does the Commonwealth Human Rights Initiative imagine that this would work?
Thank you very much. Like you said, the police have been struggling to convince the general public that they've been dealing with issues of abuse and brutalities reported against them, simply because normally what happens is it is reported to PIPS, which is now PPSB. Yeah. And it is an internal accountability mechanism, purely made up of police officers investigating police officers. That is the police investigating itself. Now, normally, when such investigations are conducted, the report is sent to the Inspector General for him to decide whether he wants to release the information or not. And mostly, the information is not released. In most instances, in a few instances, you hear that the person has been jailed. I can speak from personal experience that a case that I sent there, personally, I wasn't informed of the outcome of the case. I wrote a letter. I did not receive any response. I actually verbally spoke to the IGP. He said, "Oh, Mina, you know us, we know you, we will send you the report." I haven't got it. And that was about 4 years ago. 4 or 5 years ago. It happened before his time, the current IGP's time.
Right. Okay.
But after he became IGP, I spoke to him about it. So there are lots of instances like that where people do not get any information whatsoever as to what happened or what did not happen. Number two, in some of the cases, nothing happens and you hear that the policeman has been transferred somewhere else.
Right.
So invariably, what it means is that the worst that will happen to you is that you get transferred. So if I hear something like this, or nothing, I'm told nothing, and next time something happens, do you expect me to go back to the police? No. What we are saying is that in a democracy, there needs to be oversight of all institutions. Of course, we admit that there is some level of oversight because the Ministry of Interior does that. But the Ministry of Interior does not oversee only the Ghana Police Service. It's for internal security, which includes the prisons. Some time ago, it included customs, fire service. It has a lot. So it would not be able to do the work as it does. And it is the political figure. So in the case of where it is a politician with the general public, how do you think that would happen? And in another instance, we can talk about the Parliamentary Select Committee on Defense and Interior. But let's see the way parliamentary oversight works in this country. It is so far away from the people. Apart from the fact that people don't even know that they can actually engage or complain to Parliament when things like that happens. It's so, I see our Parliament very removed from the normal person. So the way to go, CHRI is a good mechanism because all administrative justice issues are under CHRI. But let's look at the capacity of CHRI in terms of resources and other things. And then the width of its influence. Administrative justice is huge. It's an ombudsman, administrative justice, and it deals with, it's also a it takes care of the whistleblowing issues. Anti-corruption is also under CHRI's wing. So you are adding, and the way CHRI is set up now, I think it would be very difficult for it to be able to operate as such. If the white paper on the constitutional review mechanism had been implemented, in that paper, it was suggested that the commissioners be expanded. So in that case, then you could say that there will be a sole commissioner in charge of policing issues. That would work. But as things are now, you can't have the police investigating itself. In democracies that are really working, and we gave them examples of the UK, we did a research and we used examples from the UK, from Canada, from Australia, from even Sierra Leone. Sierra Leone model is and recently Kenya has also a very, very good model to inform the research report that we've done. And we are saying that, look, this is the in thing to go. In fact, things are getting so bad that the public is rising up against the police. And we can't have that.
Right.
And the public does not trust the police to investigate itself. So obviously, we need a mechanism that works outside the police service, that is seen as being credible with people not connected with the police service.
So you've been working on what would be a draft
Yes.
of such a, a bill to bring such a mechanism into life. So that's what I'm interested in. How do you envisage it would look? So where would these civilians come from? What sort of people would they have to be? What would be the reporting mechanism once a case comes to them? What should be the weight of the outcome of whatever they deliberate on? Those details, those are the things I'm interested in. How does the Commission, the Commonwealth Human Rights Initiative see that panning out?
Okay, it's actually a coalition. It's not only the Commonwealth Human Rights Initiative.
Right, okay.
It's a coalition on NGOs that include CDD, Amnesty International, POS Foundation, Bureau of Public Safety, CHRI, Legal Resources Center, Human Rights Advocacy Center, and then there are also individuals. There's actually a retired policeman as part of the body. And we have looked at various models because this is suggestive, and we have suggested that we marry various models. In the draft framework, there are processes to go through to pick up the people that are supposed to be members of the commission. We've recommended that there should be somebody from the Bar Association, somebody from the Professional Bodies Association, somebody from civil society, somebody from the media. Is a number of people that we have recommended. Again, we've also recommended that its funding not be tied to the consolidated fund.
Right.
We've also
some independence.
Yes, with some independence. We've also recommended that they should be able to enforce their rulings, in that when they investigate and make some findings, they should be able to enforce it. That is, they should have the powers of a high court.
Right.
And we've also recommended that they should be reporting directly to Parliament.
Okay.
So those are some of the
That's
recommendations that we've made.
Now, you've asked for better engagement from the Interior Minister. Members of his team, you say, have been engaging with you.
Yes, the Chief Director, we had a conversation with her.
Yeah.
And then the former Director of Research, Mr. Amankwa, came to one or two of our programs.
So what specifically do you need the Interior Minister to do to make this move forward?
He's the political head of the ministry. The Chief Director cannot go to Parliament and move a motion in the event that we are there's a legislation. Number two, this is a new minister. We have not engaged at all.
Right.
The only time we had a conversation with, and I wasn't even part of the team, was when we were engaging the Police Council, which is chaired by the Vice President. Yes, and I am told at that meeting, we raised the issue that we have not been able to engage you, because it's strange. We've engaged the Attorney General, had a meeting with her. She made her inputs, recommendations. We sent a copy of the draft framework to her. And during the roundtable discussions, she came. We went to the Chief Justice. She sat with us. We went to the legal aid. We went to CHRI. So it is strange that the ministry, the parent organization,
the ones who would present it if they were to adopt it as a bill,
are not availing themselves, because they have not seen the framework. And obviously, they would have a position. There are issues that would work better if they are part of it, so that they can own it together. It is not a civil society thing. Civil society does not legislate.
Right.
Civil society does not make laws. So it is important for the ministry to see it, especially the minister, because he moves the ministry.
Okay.
He directs what happens there.
Yeah.
He is the one that would be able to speak to cabinet and say that, okay, this is important or not important.
Right. Okay. Well, Mina, I've got to say a big thank you for educating us on this. It's obviously a very important issue. Victims of police brutality and so forth certainly would like to see better accountability. Let's hope that the Interior Minister will give us a response. We have spoken to him on related issues. We'll bring that back to you at a later time. But certainly there is a requirement for a response here to what the Commonwealth Human Rights Initiative are calling for. Mina Mensah, thanks once again.
Thanks, Kojo. And I would like to say this, that we shouldn't joke with this. Look at the way, in this month alone, 3 incidents have happened where the public is rising against police officers.
Yeah.
And I spoke to a police officer who tells me that, listen, if nothing is done about it, it will get worse, because a lot of the policemen are not as professional as they ought to.
That's certainly not what we want. Thank you so much, Mina Mensah there. Now, we promised you a conversation. The simple question we asked on social media was, in a relationship, what matters more to the modern woman, love or money? You will be shocked at some of your answers. We'll bring them to you right after these messages.